It's kinda weird that I'm only doing details videos whenever a new Call of Duty game releases, but then again, we only get a new Battlefield game once every 3 or 4 years, so don't blame me. Anyway, last time we did Modern Warfare 3, and I really didn't like the campaign back then, and before that we did Modern Warfare 2, and again, I was one of the few people that didn't really enjoy that campaign either. I love Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, and Cold War's campaign was also pretty cool. Now we have Black Ops 6, and I can tell you one thing, the quality of this game compared to Cold War is much higher, and with that comes awesome little and realistic details. So we're gonna take a look at them in this video. Overall, I do think this campaign is much better than Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2, but not as good as Modern Warfare 2019 and Cold War. Now, I'm sorry I'm saying this at the start of the video, but data actually shows that it really works, and I never do it, so if you can, please subscribe to the channel. You should also see the subscribe button light up right now, and drop a like for the algorithm. Now, the first detail I usually look at is a very simple one. If a game doesn't have this, it usually sets the tone for what's to come. I'm talking about footprints. Now, there is only one snow map in the multiplayer to check out, so they better have footprints in the snow. And what do you know? Black Ops 6 does include footprints in the snow. But you get bonus points if it's also visible on other surfaces, like sand for example. Here in this single player campaign there is a mission where you can walk and drive through the desert, and same as the snow map, you leave footprints behind in the sand, so A+ for that. Of course, it's not a super complex detail, and it's probably the same code or whatever to program this in the sand as it is in the snow, but still, don't get it twisted, obvious things like this can be easily overlooked. Case in point, they may have added footprints in the sand, but they completely forgot to add tire tracks in the sand. As you can see, when you drive in this Jeep through the desert, you leave 0 trails behind in the sand. Which is kind of a shame, and I know this is nitpicking, but that's the whole point of these kind of videos. I praise the little details that 99% of players wouldn't notice, but I also mention areas that have been overlooked by the developers, whether it's intentional or not, because in games like Battlefield 2042, they do have tire tracks in the sand. So that's pretty interesting. Now, like I said at the beginning, the quality in Black Ops 6 is much higher than before, and you can see it in a lot of places in the campaign. There is so much set dressing in this game, it is actually insane, and for someone like me who loves to look at these tiny little details, it's actually a lot of fun. For example, your safe house is filled to the brim with tiny props. Everything from food related objects to just everyday items. Take a look yourself, the whole place is set dressed to the max, and it really makes the environment feel alive and lived in. For example, in this scene, Felix is cooking something, and it actually looks like he's stirring the pot. It looks really good and really realistic. It's almost like you can smell the food, and that actually goes for all the food related props in this game. It is actually crazy. In fact, I know that the developers are proud of this because it is also the focus point of the dynamic background for this mission in the mission select screen, which is also a cool touch that I really appreciate. If you remember, in Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, for each mission they had a cool dynamic background that was related to that mission in the mission select screen. Totally unnecessary, but I just love these things, and they also added it in Black Ops 6. And before we continue, you guys like Warhammer, right? Well, let me introduce you to the free-to-play Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus, the officially licensed tactical turn-based strategy game set in the Warhammer universe. Fight high-stakes PvE and PvP battles with over 70 legendary Warhammer 40,000 champions from 17 different factions. Playable on both mobile and PC, it already has millions of downloads and genuine great reviews. It is easy to get into and very addictive, in the best way possible, and they already have a great roadmap planned out for the future, so the content keeps expanding. I highly recommend you check this game out with the link down below or with the QR code on screen. Whether you are a Warhammer 40,000 fan or you just like a genuinely good tactical turn-based strategy game, Tacticus is definitely worth a try. So be sure to check the game out, use the gift code on screen for some extra rewards, and clear the galaxy of all resistance. A big thanks to Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus for sponsoring this video. Another thing they brought back from Black Ops Cold War is the fact that you can interact with characters from different positions. You don't have to approach them from a specific angle like in most games, but that's not that special. The cool part is the fact that they could have easily made it so that your camera would automatically move to the correct position to start the dialogue scene, but instead, depending on the position where you started the interaction, the character themselves will actually move and change its position towards you, the player. For example, in this scene, you can interact with Woods and ask him a bunch of questions. Now, most people will interact with Woods straight on from the front and you will see this. But if you approach Woods from the side, he will turn his wheelchair towards you so that the dialogue scene can start in that location, in that specific angle. Same goes for the other side, again with a completely different animation altogether. I know it seems silly to most people to highlight this, but I just love this kind of stuff. I love this attention to detail. It goes even further. They sometimes even have different ways of saying their lines when approaching them from different directions. For example, here, when you approach Felix from the back, he will say his lines like this. Listen carefully.
I'm afraid I'll need a little more time. Unless you come to help.
And when you approach him from the side, he says it like this.
I'm afraid I'll need a little more time. Unless you've come to help.
And from the other side, he will say it like this.
I'm afraid I'll need a little more time. Unless you've come to help.
You can hear the difference in these lines.
I'm afraid I'll need a little more time. I'm afraid I'll need a little more time. I'm afraid I'll need a little more time.
That means that when they mocap this scene, the director or whoever is responsible for this stuff actually kept in mind that the player can approach the characters from different positions, and they went ahead and recorded several takes for those cases. Again, they definitely didn't have to do that. They could have made the player simply move to the correct position in order to start the dialogue, but they went the extra mile, and I really like that. Now, let's look at some animation details. By far my favorite kind of details. Let's take a look at the different reloading animations for the Marine SP shotgun. We know from previous Call of Duty games that sometimes if you equip the sleight of hand perk, the animations for loading in the shotgun shells can be different. Not just faster, but completely different, which is really cool. Something similar can happen here. Depending on the type of barrel, you can have different reloading animations and reload speeds. For the normal barrels, you simply load the individual shells one by one like you can expect from a shotgun. You know, this is a pretty standard reloading animation for a shotgun. But with a different barrel, you load the shells in two at a time in this advanced, expert way. Really cool. If you need to load in one shell, you do one shell, but still in this faster, expert, advanced, like tactical way. I think that's really cool. And then there is an even faster way of loading in the shells. With this special loading rod, you can simply quickly push in the shells all at once. Whether it's 4 shells or 3 shells or 2 shells, you simply use this rod and it's insanely quick and really cool. Now the next one might be a minor spoiler, so just a heads up. Like in Cold War, in the single player campaign, you can never really tell what your character, Case, that's what your name is, Case, really looks like. You never really know what your appearance is. Except for the final cutscene, you can actually see yourself leaning against the car in the background, and if you freeze frame it and zoom in, you look an awful lot like Adler. I don't know, I just thought I'd point it out. Now sadly, Adler himself isn't half as cool as he was in Cold War. His whole secret, mystic persona doesn't really shine through here. Probably because he has way less screen time compared to the new leader, Marshall. You know, in Cold War he was keeping secrets from you, and sometimes he would keep an eye on you, which was very creepy seeing it the first time. But that's not really the case anymore. Get it? Case? Your character's name is Case? Anyway, you do still have some secrets that you can uncover and puzzles to solve in your safe house, because it used to be a KGB bunker of some sorts, so there are definitely mysterious things in this house. That's pretty cool. Now, something else that's mysterious in this game are the vehicles. For example, some of these Score Streak vehicles look like a cursed mashup of multiple vehicles. Like this one looks like an A6, but with some creative liberties taken. And the strategic bomber is supposed to look like the F-117 Nighthawk, I guess, but in this rendition it looks like they added the YF-23 backside to it. It almost looks like an AI prompt that says, "Show me a cool military vehicle." Anyway, one thing I did notice on the strategic bomber is the laser designator that is mounted on the bottom of the nose. I don't know if they actually used AI to design these vehicles, but adding this device to the nose of the plane is a cool touch, whether it's AI or not. Actually, if it's AI, it's actually kind of scary. But it's interesting, there are a lot of objects and props that are extremely high quality in this game. Take a look at the C4 pack. It's not the same as C4 from other Call of Duty games. It is made to look like an everyday bag of some sort, you know, to make it low profile, which obviously fits with the theme of Black Ops. The blast trap and decoy also both look highly detailed. You're dripping fire when equipping the Molotov cocktail, although that's not new, but it's still very cool. Also, this envelope that you throw away in this mission still sits there in the trash after the cutscene. But like I said, there are also some things that they definitely overlooked. In this mission, you are supposed to get to some sort of Bill Clinton campaign party, and there is this one news reporter outside with a camera. Now, I really expected that if you hop in front of the camera, that the lady would say something like, get out of the way or something like that, or stop talking, but nothing. nothing happens, nothing at all. And if she's done talking, she just stands there like a possessed clown. Really disappointed in that. I really expected something. In this mission where you invade Saddam's palace, you can see a painting of him on the ground that looks a little bit different. And a bunch of other valuables, you know, gold, stuff like that. Well, in the multiplayer map based on this mission, you can see some really cool golden guns like they usually have in this kind of location. And also what appears to be the Kar 98 sniper rifle. So that might be a sign that it will come to the multiplayer somewhere down the line. In one mission in the single player campaign, you find yourself in the CIA headquarters, and on the wall are pictures of, I assume, very important people. In fact, they are so important that they duplicated the pictures multiple times. Very strange. And to finish it off, another animation detail. They brought back the empty inspect animations. Back in Modern Warfare 2, they added empty weapon inspect animations alongside the regular weapon inspect animation. Totally unnecessary, but really cool. Well, I'm happy to say that they brought it back in Black Ops 6. As you can see, for these guns, once the gun is empty, the inspect animations are different. Man, I love inspect animations. Now, before we go, don't forget to check out Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus. With both PvE and PvP fast-paced battles, it's the perfect tactical turn-based strategy game for on the go. Click the link down below or use the QR code on screen. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more, let me know down below. And with that being said, I see you guys next time.